peaceful election to all Ugandans and visitors to our country. Honorable Ministers, our country has no specific threats at this stage targeting the elections, but we are aware of some candidates who, even without evidence, are already questioning the outcome of the elections. Therefore, if such candidates lose, some of their supporters who strongly believe in them are planning on holding disruptive and violent demonstrations and riots, civil unrest, and foreign disinformation campaigns. Similarly, some of the radical youth groups are actively involved in intimidation and threatening behavior to discourage rival voters from participating in the elections. In addition, despite the Electoral Commission guidelines on polling day, some candidates are urging their supporters to go in large numbers to monitor the polling centers on false claims of election fraud. There is no evidence of voter fraud, but some politicians are using the propaganda to incite violence based on these false claims. Honorable Ministers, we have since addressed the security gaps about what happened during the violent riots and demonstrations of the 18th November last year. And now, I would like to assure the whole country that whoever foments trouble will regret why his or her mother gave birth to him or her. That's what I want to repeat it. Whoever thinks will cause anarchy in this country will regret the consequences.
To the youth of Uganda, I would like to say that you, the youth, you have the highest peace dividend from the work of the Uganda Police and UPDF, because you are the biggest beneficiaries. You are beneficiaries because the NRM has created opportunities for you to grow and participate fully. Because in the past, it was probable for a youth to grow properly and also exercise your rights. But the NRM has put in conditions to make sure that the youth can exercise their rights. As we elect national leaders, the youth structures are also active. The youth are electing youth councils at all levels, within their political parties and even at the national level. You should not allow any person to exploit your youthful energy to engage in unlawful activities, because as the IGP said, the consequences will definitely not be good for your future. Our colleague, the Minister of Security, has already met the business community representatives and our investors. I would like to say that one of the safest and secure investment destinations, as you know, in the whole of this region is Uganda. The security forces, including UPDF, will be deployed. And as you heard from IGP, they have been preparing. They will be deployed during and after elections to protect your businesses and investments, including the tourism sites, will be fully protected. So there is no need to panic. The election will take place. The election will end in accordance with the verdict of the people. And because of the preparedness of our security forces, there will be no violence, and you will be allowed to continue with your investments, and your businesses will continue to thrive. Honorable Kyagulanyi, for having evacuated his children from Uganda, allegedly because their lives are under threat. I don't know from who, but I would like to say that this is not the first time that candidates are standing in Uganda, even during the NRM regime. We had candidates who stood in 1996, they had families. Mzee Semogere has a family here, he stood, and he's still living in Uganda. Nothing happened to him, and nothing happened to his family. In 2001, there are a number of candidates who stood. They stayed in Uganda, and they are still in Uganda with their families. 2006, the same happened. 2011, the same happened. 2016, other candidates stood against the president and lost, and they continued to stay in this country. and their families and their children and grandchildren and their relatives. It has never been the policy of the NRM government to harm opponents or even to revenge against opponents, including those, by the way, who are captured in combat by UPDF. That is why NRM created the amnesty law, even to forgive those who renounce rebellion and decide to settle in their country. So I think it is not correct to allege those fears which are unfounded. And I would like to again invite all these candidates to settle down. Their families will be safe, and whatever comes out of the election should be respected by everybody. There is a notion in Uganda, and this notion is not new, of people sometimes declaring themselves as winners of an election. It has happened before. An election is held, the votes are counted in broad daylight. The winner is supposed to be declared by the Electoral Commission. And all of us, including the security forces, will be waiting for the word of the Electoral Commission. It is the only body that is empowered by law, by constitution and the law, to arbitrate over the election, conduct the election, and finally declare who the winning candidate or the losing candidate will be at all levels. And all candidates must accept the decision of the people as communicated by the Electoral Commission. I have declared myself the president of Uganda. You cannot. That is illegal, it's unconstitutional, and the security forces certainly cannot allow.
Ate mu gy'otobadde omulala nga wabula ennaku mbale okutuuka ku lunaku lw'okulonda bannabyabufuzi ab'enjawulo bongedde amaanyi mu kuyiga akalulu basobole okuwangula ebifo ebyo bye beesimbyeko. Emityana omu ku beesimbyewo ku kifo